You're watching Oilers Nation every day with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
It's Ovechkin versus Draisaitl. Russia versus Germany. When was the last time those two were on opposite sides? Let's get into it with the lead.
Crazy one.
This is not a political show.
I disagree. We've been getting into the government a lot recently.
Yeah, they've been trending in what's trending for a few segments now.
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
there's lots to talk about to let the people know. Our prime minister just quit, Jay. I'm not sure if you heard about that.
What?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Gonzo
I know
Washington.
you were in Mexico.
Another one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
crazy.
what do you mean? Well, I thought you mean like just as in today. I know he announced,
Yeah.
but I actually thought now he's like,
No.
Oh, I don't know.
We're still figuring that out.
Yeah,
But on the government side of things,
we
there's
as a
one-
liberal.
no.
Oh, okay.
It's one guy, funnily enough, I think he's an Ontario guy, was just like, so you don't know French. He's like, the French don't care about that. I was like, I think they might care about it, to be honest. But that's for another What's Trending segment, I suppose. Ty, any thoughts?
no, apparently none of our mics are working.
Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O.
It's just Jay's mic, and I think he's quiet.
Can you
Oh.
hear us?
Best of luck to you, Jay.
Hello?
Yeah, you can hear you because it said Tyler with the history lesson.
Oh, okay, so
What
we're
about
good.
Jay.
Well, we'll sort that out. Anyways, I did Google right before the show today, when have Germany and Russia been on opposite sides in a war? I couldn't find an answer.
Well,
But I only Googled it for about 6 seconds. So I actually can't give anyone a history
My
lesson. Is my
Google
point.
query takes like 0.005 seconds.
I'm very
opposite
busy.
sides?
Anyways, welcome into the
World War
show. We're
II.
live from the Sports Closet studio. We have $50 to Sports Closet to give away at some point today on the show. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. The show, as always, a presentation of Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. So it was World War II, as the chat's
Yeah, like
pointing
a
out.
big part of that was like they were just fighting on two fronts.
Did
Yeah.
you not attend a single class of social studies?
No. One of my
huge-
favorite high school memories was when me and my
Skipping
buddies
social.
skipped social studies in grade 11 or whatever grade it was with the
Damn.
Batista bat flip game. We skipped social studies to go watch that.
You were in high school then.
That was 2015.
It sure was.
Oh,
No,
that's a long
2014.
time ago, eh?
I graduated 1 year.
Yeah.
Oh, back in the good old days. I was working full-time job.
At Michael's.
No, Smiley's Village.
Ah,
Village.
Y Road?
Bingo.
Is that
Home.
a buffet restaurant?
Chinese buffet.
it's good.
Nice.
It's
It's
more-
legit. I can vouch.
Glorified busboy more than a server.
Yeah.
Okay,
awesome.
let's get into a few things here. Let's start with the big story. It's life without Connor McDavid tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. He's given a 3-game suspension from the Department of Player Safety. Jay, Liam and I went live last night. We kind of gave our thoughts in the moment.
Well done, by the way.
Thank you. We were
Thank you.
ready.
Shout out to everyone that tuned in because there was a lot of viewers on that one. Shout out to our boy Jeff Merrick for popping in the chat and going back and forth with some people too. But what did you make? 3 apiece for McDavid and Myers.
Yeah, too long. Myers definitely should have been 3 games.
Mhm.
McDavid 3 games. It's like, he's going to get a suspension.
Mhm.
Like, that's cross-check to the head. You can't deny it.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole like other discussion that's being had that is the lead up to have Connor have to go and do that.
Mhm.
And we can park that component. But this to me at a max was a 2-game suspension.
I think his history played into this a
We
decent
just had that
amount.
6-gamer though, right?
Well, it depends who you
That's
ask.
probably I forgot to factor that in.
Also, our boy Eli, one of our producers, video editors, went and put that through into ChatGPT and just asked ChatGPT how many times has Connor McDavid been suspended for, and ChatGPT thinks he's been given a 6-game suspension because of our article, right? So
So now we know to take down AI if we have to.
exactly.
We're in
Um,
control still.
Oilers.
But
Nation.
McDavid does have a bit of a rap sheet, so that's fair. So does Tyler Myers. Again, I think as much as we can sit here and say the Myers cross-check was worse because it was unprovoked and all of that, and I do agree with that. Tyler Myers in his hearing also could have said, I don't cross-check that guy if I don't see my guy get cross-checked, right? Like,
Yeah, he'd also be like, I'm 6th,
Yeah.
1,000.
So
612.
I'm honestly not all that upset about it being 3 games. What's kind of been I thought he was getting 2, so they're off by 1.
But that's a lot.
It's
That's
a cro-
50% more.
But we went through a few yesterday. Like David Perron got 6 for cross-checking in the head. Morgan Riley got 5. Like there's precedent for guys getting 4 or more games in this. So like
I feel like it's a makeup for the chicken wing.
yeah, I had someone text me
I did
yesterday
wonder
too.
that too.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like
'Cause
the
that was
chicken wing,
intentional.
like it was kind of a crazy week for McDavid. Like
Yeah.
started the week getting slew-fied.
Oh yeah, he's
He's-
taking his
he's
lumps.
had a
He's
big,
pissed. He's
crazy
spicy.
week. So
His first game back. Woo!
I wonder
5
if
points.
I wonder if this was just like after the week that was just like obviously this was frustrating, but just like everything on top of
End
it,
of the
just
roadie,
all
too.
went into that cross check.
Yeah. All I want to know is what are we doing to Elias Pettersson on Thursday? What are we doing? And who's doing it?
So there
I
was
wanna see it.
a comment in here, Duran, who's been popping in the chat. He's also great with the super chat, so we appreciate him. How is that worse than the one he got in the playoffs? Makes no sense. Okay, but that was a playoff game, and that was late in a series. So, like again, what I think this cross check for McDavid was is I viewed it as like, okay, that's like a 2.5 game suspension, and he gets an extra. He goes on the over because he has a rap sheet and he has a history, and he was
David? You're really factoring that 6 gamer, eh?
I am. Well, he's also been suspended legitimately before.
Once.
Yeah. And he's been fined a handful of times. And then on the other side with the Susie one, like it is very similar, but that goes a tick under because it was before game 6 of a series. So like playoff games are they're
different.
always weighted. So I don't think you can really compare those two.
But your 2.5 comment is crazy to me.
Why?
What? How do you have 2.5?
I'm saying like it's a suspension that is between 2 and 3 games. And like, so is it going to go over 2.5, under 2.5? What pushes you to the over is McDavid's history. That comment made sense.
Okay.
My line of thinking makes sense.
Sure.
The other thing I want to get into is there is this whole conversation going on online, and whoever's running around talking about it. First off, I love spicy Bob Stauffer. Bob Stauffer goes to bat for the Edmonton Oilers, and I love that about him. It is great. This is in no way a comment on
He's
what
got the
Bob.
logo on his chest.
This is in no way a comment on what Bob had to say. The idea that Connor McDavid is going to take this suspension and stop doing media for the league, promotion for the league, the Four Nations face-off, any of that stuff is fucking absurd.
Well, no, let's talk about that a little bit.
Jay, the conversation
He'll
of
keep doing his McDonald's commercial.
he will. Okay, but is Connor McDavid officiated fairly? Has he been officiated fairly this season by the refs? And traditionally, no. That conversation's over here. The conversation of does this 3-game suspension, is it warranted? Is it fair? Like that's totally different. Like
But to say they're not connected.
it's too.
The fact that he takes abuse day in and day out and it doesn't get called.
That does not mean he doesn't get suspended. He cross-checked someone in the head.
I understand that his act deserves a suspension,
Yes.
but it's the fact that a bunch of things happened to him to then force that reaction.
Yeah.
And I'm saying force that reaction because at the end of the day, he's human. He's fucking human.
He's fed up. I know.
And he's competitive. So him going, that's why I have no problem him going and doing that to Garland. None whatsoever.
I don't either. I like it, and
just-
he can do it
sucks
again.
that it's a 3-game suspension because it is a suspension. But it's the fact that they're not taking care of a star, and it's not even taking care of, just calling the game to the same level they would call it on anyone else, on their superstar. So it's not about protecting them, it's just about calling it fair against them. That's the issue. And that's why I can be like, hey, enough's enough. You're going to suspend me for this. All this stuff is happening for me to take matters in my own hands.
Mhm.
So yeah, I took a suspension. But my act isn't the issue. It's everything that led up to that act that is the issue. And I'm mad at the league and disappointed in the league for how they're handling this. So yeah, I have some control in this. I am a superstar that's not being paid attention to. So I can do things that carry weight. So I like this narrative. I actually do. I don't know if it's true or not.
It's not, and I think
I
it's
hope
ridiculous.
there's some components that are true. I hope there are. I hope there are.
I think it's
Because why should he be going to the bat for the league that wants to trade in his name and use his name to grow their brand? Meanwhile, they're letting him down day in and day out.
I
Why?
think an interesting angle of it is the Crosby stuff. Because what did he miss the All-Star game for last year? Like he's been known to not
Yeah.
go to events.
Yeah, he
And
went and
it's-
shot a commercial in Montana. or
and
whatever.
it's not because of like he's against the league, but he just chooses not to.
Yeah.
Like he was
Ovi always finds a way to.
how
miss
many penalties drawn do you think Ovechkin has this season? I know he's 38 years old and he's very different to what he was, but how many do you think he has drawn this year?
I don't even know what like a proper number is.
The answer
5?
is 0.
Okay.
Isn't it? I think that's a crazy number. Like
I think that
know,
kind of speaks to Ovi's new style.
Probably is,
Yeah,
but
he's
it is interesting. Like, surely he gets
playing in
tripped
no
on
man's
today,
land.
He's
right?
not
Like,
really taking pucks to the net
but
anymore.
he's still like played 35 games this year.
not
maybe a little less,
railroading
but
guys.
I saw
Yeah.
that was
Quite once in a
interesting.
while.
I thought Maynard made a good point. I think a good comparison for McDavid's suspension was the Matthews one. You got 2 games for his cross check on.
Matthews didn't have a
Golly.
history though.
That's what I mean, and that's why McDavid got the
But his
extra game.
history is like
It
But
matters.
that's
They
the
put
way
it
the
at the end of
system
the.
works.
They put
the
it at the
one
end of their
suspension
videos.
that he got it because it was like a hit to the head, right?
Hit
Yeah,
to the head of
Nick
Nick
Leddy.
Leddy.
Yeah, and that was kind of unfortunate. I don't think it was
I don't think-
predatory,
Yeah.
but it was the
Suspendable
result.
for
The actual
sure.
hit was a suspendable offense.
Mm-hmm.
So he's never done anything malicious. Although the chicken wing was the chicken wing. That was a chicken wing.
I was
anyways.
a chicken. I'm surprised he didn't get fined for that, to be honest.
If you want to say that McDavid should go out and publicly take a stand and say, I don't think the star players in this league are being officiated poorly and I'd like it to change, then yes, he totally should.
But he's not going to.
He's also
he has
not
other actions he can do quietly
Yeah.
that hurt more.
People are saying in the chat, history doesn't matter. At the end of the suspension videos, like one of their key points for both players was the first one was cross check to the head, the second one was history. That's why we're bringing it up. It's a lot different than a repeat offender.
Yeah.
A history and repeat offender are different things.
Yeah.
That's it.
That is correct.
That
Yes.
is-
I do think there is a bit of confusion about that, but I don't know. Just the people who like if you're the league, you can't look at this and be like, God, that's a pretty bad cross check, but let's just
No, they
give-
can't avoid it. They can't avoid the suspension. It just unlocks the larger issue, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's a larger issue. McDavid cross-checking guy in the head is a suspendable offense. Period. End of story.
Yeah.
Black and white. Done.
There you go. That's all I'm saying. Like, and that's why
But it does spark the conversation of like McDavid is taking abuse. Star players are taking abuse night in, night out. I shouldn't even make it exclusive to McDavid.
Yeah.
Right. It's happening to all of them. And then they take matters in their own hands and it forces that issue.
Yeah.
And now we have a superstar getting suspended. And that could have been avoided if they just called a penalty when they were supposed to.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's the issue. That stuff doesn't happen if the refs call the game the right way. And if they're going to let it be and let this happen, well, then star players carry weight in the growth of this game. So they've got things to flex.
What was the thing that Lemieux and is it Brett Hull did?
I mean,
I've seen
Lemieux
people
came out at
talking
one point
about
and was
that.
like, I'm going to retire if like I'm not treated better or something.
That's how I don't- Okay.
And Brett Hall spoke out about it too, but I don't know what the quote is.
Like, I think too, for when we talk about like the refs need to make all these calls, it's not necessarily like the tiki-taki ones, but like the clear and obvious ones are the ones that are frustrating the most. So they're going to miss
not
stuff.
ticky-tack. The ones that we see that
yeah.
get missed, they're legit.
Yeah, they're leveling the field penalties, right?
It's-
Where
But
a
it's
guy's
the fact
allowed to
that, like,
hold
one
them.
team, if one team gets 3 penalties, the other team has to get 3. Like that bullshit has to go away.
Yeah, you got to let the game dictate
The
itself.
game is the game. Call it the game.
Yeah.
The Oilers are
If
27th
one team
in
takes
the
10
league.
penalties and one takes 0, well, you don't owe the team that took 0 penalty.
Correct. Like I'm with
Yeah.
you on that. It's very predictable when you watch an NHL game who's going to get the next power play,
Yeah, it is.
right? Like
Which
if
really
you could bet on it, you could probably make decent money because there's that element of game management. But again, like just the idea, I think that McDavid's going to use this as a springboard into some sort of stance against the league. I think if you're going and floating that,
remember,
you have.
he's
Well,
got-
just let me finish my take.
Okay.
If you're saying that, you have very little idea of how Connor McDavid has operated at any point in his hockey career, never mind his NHL career.
So then my comment, what I was about to say still holds true to what you said, is that it's more than just Connor McDavid. He is a machine.
Yeah.
He has people around him.
Mhm.
Like he is a $100 million organization.
Yeah.
One man. And the organization isn't happy about this.
Correct.
And they will do these things, whether Connor, wants to or not. They're going to probably step in and I won't say force the issue, but probably educate Connor enough that they should probably take some of these actions.
Yeah. There was Perry had a good comment. AB, I know you flashed up a second ago, but why aren't we protecting the superstars? Every other league does it. Mahomes, LeBron, they protect their superstars. Corey Perry on McDavid. Like, I think a bigger issue in all of this, when I look back at the way things have gone in Oilers games the last 2 weeks, Adrian Kempe slewfoots Connor McDavid. The league gives him a fine, even though Kempe also, again, has a history of doing greasy, dirty stuff. That's one there where, like, if you want to talk about protecting the stars, it's like, yeah, okay, you slew-footed Connor McDavid. You're getting a game for that. Like, that's the kind of stuff I think they need to be better at. And also, yeah, the holdings and all that on McDavid, like, it has been a problem this season. Gregor had a really good kind of stat and fact on it because someone shot back at him and was like, like, teams learn how to defend these players, blah, blah, blah. So teams averaged 2.89 power play chances per game in 2022. That season, McDavid and McKinnon drew a combined 90 penalties. Okay, so 2.8 and 90. In 2025, teams are averaging 2.8 power play opportunities per game. McDavid and McKinnon combined have drawn 27 penalties so far. They're on pace for that'd be 54 penalties. So teams are taking the same number of penalties, yet two of the game's biggest stars are drawing half as many power plays as they did in 2022. Like, that doesn't make sense. That's the issue. And that's just all I wanted was the problem here. And if McDavid's going to take a stance, like 3 games, I know Oilers fans are upset about it, and you don't get Connor for 3 games. And is it a game too long? Whatever. You can call it bullshit if you really want to. I'm telling you, there's justification for Connor McDavid getting 3 games. It's not egregious. 4 would have been a step too far. 2 would have probably been the right decision and kept everybody happy. They went 3 to send a message. Sure. But the bigger problem is officiating. And to me, you can cut out the whole suspension talk and you can have that officiating talk without mentioning 3 games or what happened the other day.
Do you think linesmen should be able to talk to refs about minor penalties to help clean things up a little bit? Because sometimes too, like, the game's obviously fast, like, no one's denying that, and the refs' jobs aren't easy by any means. But like, if the linesman, for example, sees that slew fast, so puck's already gone, like, should he be able to go to the refs after and be like, "Hey, there was a clear slew over there. You should call that."
Yeah, I think that's probably something they need to consider. I also think it's a way bigger and call it crazier thing, but Rod Brindamore had that idea of there's no need for 2 refs on the ice. Put 1 ref on the ice, put 1 ref in the penalty box with a video monitor in front of them.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
And there's 1 more space on the ice. You don't have refs getting in the way of things. You need 2 linesmen, obviously, but have 1 ref sitting in the penalty box who has the ability to call penalties. And he's got a monitor in front of him, 2 monitors in front of him with a couple different angles. And like, he can have the bird's eye view of what's happening in the game.
Because I think too, if a penalty is called, say it's called 30 seconds later or something like that, it's kind of just like having a delayed penalty anyway, so it doesn't change too much.
No, and I mean, that ref sitting in the box can buzz in at any point and be like, there's a delayed penalty here.
Yeah.
I'll just communicate with the ref on the ice, put your arm up.
Like, hey, we got trip on 27. Boom, ref on the ice puts his arm up.
Get him out of here.
Yeah. I just think there's better ways for the game to be officiated. And yeah, someone says the game is fast is not an excuse. I also think, these refs are, again, the best refs in the world. They should not have as many problems as they do. The other side of it is I think refs should be available after the game. Pool reporter, 1 guy is allowed to ask 3 to 5 questions. And this isn't even like to put refs on blast, but I think it's mutually beneficial for everyone to be able to hear after the game, like, I didn't call this because this. I did call this because this. Wes McCauley, why did you just give everybody a penalty at the end of the game instead of actually doing your job? Why didn't you call Connor Garland at the 8-second mark, 12-second mark, or 14-second mark of his hold on McDavid, right?
So I was watching the sheet yesterday when they were talking about it, and they had someone from Player Safety who was on a few weeks ago at the start of his show, Sean Burke, is that it? And they were saying the agent also goes on these calls with these players. McDavid and Garland share the same agent, which I think was a funny angle of it all. No, I don't know his name. Dan Milstein, is that it?
No,
Ty?
It's not Dan Milstein.
What's the agent called, Ty?
McDavid?
Yeah.
Judd Moldover.
Yeah. Represents them both. Thought that was funny.
Okay, I want to wrap this up by getting to just a couple of quotes. Leon Draisaitl speaking today. Do we have that video? Yeah, let's play it.
I think 3 games is a little too much for either side. But yeah, I guess we don't overly care about having our best players in the league in the game. So I'll leave it at that.
Leon Draisaitl making sure he can keep that $25,000 tucked nicely in his pocket and not have to give it up to the league. But I think we kind of get the message of what he's saying there.
Do they get fined that much?
I don't know how
Oh,
much
I was
the
gonna
fines are
say,
if you
more
say
than
shit
a
like that.
slew foot. But yeah, he definitely kept it balanced, I guess you could say. There was some other funny ones.
Yeah,
too.
Ovi kind of said, like, do we have the video of that, or is
No,
it just
I just have a quote.
or just the quote
It's just a
board?
quote.
Ovechkin on the McDavid suspension quote, sucks for him, good for us. Very Ovi-esque.
Yeah.
That one lines up. And Sidney Crosby was asked about it earlier today too.
Yesterday, he was
Yesterday.
talking about it. Yeah.
What do you say?
He just basically said sometimes this stuff happens. Did you have the quote, Aaron?
No.
Oh,
No.
paraphrasing.
You
a
said
little
that
bit.
stuff happens.
But he's just like, it happens. Like the game's so quick. Like, what is McDavid supposed to do? Like, he kind of defended McDavid. He's like,
Yeah, he totally did.
yeah, it was an interesting one.
Yeah,
And then
that's
he ended it. He's like, that's hockey. But Perry really went to bat. Like
Yeah,
you said,
as you
like,
kind of
yeah.
expect.
I'd be curious today. I think there'll probably be a lot more quotes that come around.
Mhm.
But Knobloch was pretty pissed off about it, to be honest. After the
What are
game.
we gonna do on Thursday?
Nothing, Jay. What do you know about this team, right?
Well, I know that's
Like,
why
it's
I hope
not in this
but-
Oilers
but-
team's
but-
DNA to go get a guy.
Corey Perry would
I've actually Conor
Um,
Garland, I think, has
full worm mode.
changed my perspective on the deadline and the way this league kind of is, to be honest. Like we talk about like the Oilers need to get tougher and all this stuff. I think they just need to get
Smaller?
pestier. Like just go find yourself a pest. Like I know they have Perry, but you're not putting Perry out in like pivotal moments, right? He can't skate as well as he used to, but they need to find a Garland, whoever that may be. I think that changes things a lot.
I mean, Evander Kane's in the lineup.
Yeah,
Darnell
but I wouldn't
Nurse's-
put them in the same category.
Yeah, they're not pests.
They're not pests. Like
Yeah, but
Garland,
we're not
like,
They're
looking.
physical.
Yeah,
I-
they're
and
physical.
I'll push back on the idea that the Oilers need a pest. Because, like, what does that accomplish?
Draws penalties.
Draws penalties. Yes, star player suspended.
Like
for
look at
games.
Brad Marchand. He is like the
He leads
perfect-
the league, I think.
Yeah,
Like
he's-
when we went through that list yesterday,
They're all pests.
all of those guys were pests. You want one of those guys?
Yeah, maybe you need Davidson to step up a little bit more and play that
Yeah,
role.
you kind of have one
Yeah.
of those guys in Arvidsson. Yeah.
Yeah, we just haven't seen it that much. We need that side of him, I think.
Okay, let's get to a few things. Let's turn our attention to the hockey game tonight. Oilers Capitals, Edmonton hosting the best team in the NHL, only team in the league with a points percentage above
and we're favorites.
Yeah, I know.
And we're without McDavid.
Yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Let's get into some game notes for our friends at Yeti. Excited to have them on board as we head out to Jasper for the weekend. Crave the cold and extend your ice time with hard-hitting gear that's built to honor the toughest sport on earth. Crave the cold, hashtag built for the wild. Shout out to our friends at Yeti. Game notes, obviously a lot of attention on Alex Ovechkin in this hockey game. His pursuit of Wayne Gretzky's goal record. The great one is 21 goals ahead of Alex Ovechkin coming into this hockey game tonight. So Ovi needs 20 to tie, 21 to pass him is the number. It would have been nice if this game was scheduled for like mid-March.
Oh, and
Because
it's
then-
getting
against the
closer.
game?
Like,
Oh.
If he was 2 or 3 away heading into this game, that would have been
Do
something.
you think Ovi does it this year?
Yeah.
Well, that's
He's burying empty netters.
like,
Like,
oh yeah, he's gonna be on for every
Yeah.
empty net situation.
but like 21 goals in 30 games, Jay. This is a rate that Ovi
It's-
wasn't even at earlier in
It's
his
a
career.
ripping rate.
So this one from the game notes on our boy Coombsy over at OilersNation.com. The 9-time Rocket Richard Trophy winner is tied for 15th in the league in scoring with 21 goals, despite missing 16 games. He's still top 20 in goals, and he's missed basically a third of this season already. It is
That's wild.
it's insane, man. This 21 goal pace he's on, that would be his best pace since, man, you would have to go back to I think 2019, 2020, that season when he had 48 and 68 to end the
Because there's
season.
like 37-ish games left,
yeah.
and he's scoring what? He's 21 in 30.
Yeah.
So like
Keep this-
0.7 goals per game.
Keep this pace going and you'll hit it this year.
Mhm.
Oh,
It's something.
you think he can keep it? It's like he's playing a different game.
He is.
He is there, but he is not there, but he is there enough to score somehow.
Yep. Yeah, and that is one thing High and Dry pointed out. He can break the record in fewer games than Wayne Gretzky as well. So I do think that's probably something
If he can
Ovi's-
do that, that's big.
Yeah, like I mean, they already kind of and Wayne Gretzky himself has said this. Like Alex Ovechkin is already the best goal scorer in NHL history. It's just a matter of him having the record to go with it. Because him doing this in the era he's doing it and all of that is crazy. Did you see the picture of him in the Oilers Hall of Fame room
Yes.
wearing the old gloves?
Yeah.
How cool of a photo would it be if he came out and like took warm up with him and just did like a couple laps in warm up wearing Wayne's gloves? I think that'd be sweet.
rip.
But anyways, he's played 30 going into tonight, 31 fewer games than Wayne Gretzky. So if he can keep the identical pace he's on, 21 goals in his first 30 games, if he can score 21 in the next 30, he will pass Wayne Gretzky in a fewer number of games, which is pretty cool.
It's just such a hard pace to keep.
It is crazy. It's basically a 60 goal pace.
Yeah.
So you got some more game notes, Liam?
Yeah, just a few, mostly on Logan Thompson and just how great he's been. He's a confirmed star tonight.
What a trade.
I mean, what did you say was a third round pick?
pick.
And he signed autographs on the day he was traded too. So in his last 4 games, his last 9 games, I rephrase that, start again. Last 10 games, he has only allowed 9 5-on-5 goals against, which dates back to December 28th.
Wow.
And only in the last 4 games, he has allowed 1 5-on-5 goal against.
In the last 4 games, he's allowed 1 5-on-5 goal.
Yeah, so the Caps are on a 4-game win streak right now. I believe he started all 4 of them.
Yeah.
4-1 against the Pens, beat the Sens 1-0, beat the Ducks 3-0, beat the Predators 4-1. And the Preds game, they had 33 shots against, and the other one's 19, 24, 19. And I think too, over that stretch, like they're just not being led by anyone in particular offensively. Like Brandon Duhaime has the most points for them in the last 5 games, which is crazy. He has 4.
Both the Oilers and Capitals top 10 in the NHL this year in fewest 5v5 shots against per 60. So they've both been very good at preventing chances. They've also both been very good at getting scoring chances. The Oilers are number 1 in the NHL in shots for per game. The Capitals a little bit lower down that list. They're actually in the bottom third of the NHL when you look at 5-on-5, but their power play is actually what sparks them up a little bit. The Oilers have the edge, 24.6% on the PP. Caps penalty kills a little bit better. Caps better at preventing goals and scoring goals over the course of the entire season. So
The goal is like the total is 5.5 for the game.
I think that makes sense. Logan Thompson's been tough.
I know, but both teams scored north of 3, and I know they defend at that level. It's an interesting game. I feel like the lid pops off tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because like kind of heard the teams that they just beat Pittsburgh, Anaheim. I know Ottawa's a good team, but like the Predators, like they're not exactly juggernauts by any means. The one thing I did find on Logan Thompson is if you can get behind the defense, you're in a pretty good chance of scoring them.
Well, it's
like
basically the only way to beat him is what you found.
So in those 9 goals that I said over his last 10 at 5-on-5, 7 of them have come in like right in front of the net.
Zach Hyman.
You got to get open.
Goal night.
Yeah, you got to get greasy and you got to get open.
Corey Perry.
Well, then maybe I should tell you guys what the lineups are looking like. Our guy Zach Lang just put him out from the team. All right. Lineup report brought to you by Booster Juice, proud puck partner of the Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament. Coming up this weekend, can't wait. Team Oilers Nation, powered by Booster Juice. Visit a location today to refuel, refresh, and re-energize. You can also download the Booster Rewards app to earn, order, and enjoy. The lines from Zach Lang, top line, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Zach Hyman, and
Jeff Skinner.
Jeff Skinner getting moved up into the top 6. So we talked about this yesterday on our emergency show. I really didn't think we were going to see Jeff Skinner get this look in the top 6. My prediction, I think, was Janmark, because I was like, they always just seem to want to slide Matthias Janmark up in the lineup when they're doing this sort of pinch hit duty stuff. But Skinner, Nuge, Hyman, second line stays the same. Podkolzin, Draisaitl, Arvidsson. But I guess we can go around. What do you make of Jeff Skinner getting an opportunity here? Potentially for the next 3 games if he grabs it.
We've tried him in the bottom 6. It doesn't work. He needs to be a top 6 guy. So here's his chance. We got to try to get him going.
Yeah,
for
and
multiple reasons.
I like Mikhail and Dry. Oilers need to give Skinner a fighting chance. If he fumbles it this week, he's done.
But like that line doesn't have McDavid, so it's like.
But Nuge has been playing some of the best hockey we've seen from him over the last couple of years.
I am.
Yes.
There was an angle too of putting Nugent, Podkolzin, and Arvidsson still. They've been playing well recently.
Drive as a center here. This is the issue.
But he was driving that Podkolzin Arvidsson line for the last few games. Like he's looked good down the middle, and I'm really surprised by that.
Yeah, he's done well, that line. I think maybe just starting games together has helped them a little bit too, but you kind of had no choice but to give Skinner the opportunity, I guess is the best way to put it. Like I would have probably moved Kapanen a little bit higher up. Like I wouldn't have Janmark on the third line.
Kapanen's comfortable in the 4th line though. Like he can still he can make the most of his minutes where you put Skinner on the 4th line. Like
I'm not saying Skinner on the 4th line. I'm saying Janmark on the 4th line and Kapanen on the 3rd line next to Henrik and Brown.
Why Janmark on the 4th line?
Because he's not an
Oh my god, yeah, because he's been bad this year. Simple.
Janmark.
He hasn't scored a goal on a goalie.
It's hard.
Kapanen has 6 goals this season.
He does. Jeff Skinner has 7.
I am a Janmark supporter, and even I have seen it start to dip.
He's handling it.
It's
He's handling the puck like a grenade right now.
It's coming. Man, he's fast.
damn right.
Sure.
So
he's the
is,
new fast
I
Zamboni.
was gonna say Joachim Nygard was fast too. That was his name,
I
yeah.
miss
Joachim
Joachim Nygard.
Nygard.
No, you don't.
Gaetan Haas.
That's a guy you miss. I love Gaetan Haas.
Yeah, he was good. But I don't know. In a game where you need your offense because of how good the goaltending is, I feel like having Kapanen on the 4th line isn't the best option. But who knows?
But
Maybe
also,
they'll
I don't
just-
mind
move
like
around.
using Perry, Philip Kapanen in ozone situations.
Yeah,
Like I actually think
that'll
they
be
can do
good.
some damage. So like going Janmark with Henrique and Brown and hoping they just kind of survive because that trio hasn't been very good as of late. Like survive, give that 4th line some ozone draws. Sure. Drysaddle's probably taken. I think that Draisaitl line will play a ton tonight, and they'll probably get a ton of really tough.
tonight.
They'll get a ton of really tough assignments. Skinner, Nugent, Hyman. I mean, again, you could probably use them anywhere, but I think Draisaitl's gonna have to play a ton. Like if I said his over under at 22.5 minutes, I might take the over tonight.
It was also reported earlier today that Nuge goes to center with Hyman. They'll be shuffling that line. So I don't know how much commitment there is, but
Yeah.
who knows? We
Yeah.
know Nobby,
Rotating
right?
door
We know
there.
Nobby.
Coming into tonight, Leon Draisaitl's high in minutes was the game on January 9th against Pittsburgh when they were obviously trailing early. They played him 27 minutes and 20 seconds. He's hit 25 minutes twice this year. So, hey, again, wouldn't be surprised if maybe he hits that 25-minute mark again tonight. Let's quickly look at the flip side of this because this Washington Capitals team is one of the best stories in the NHL this season. They had an off season that was quite honestly unbelievable. They've gotten some breaks with the LTIR space they opened up. Like they could use Oshie, they can use Nicholas Backstrom, and that kind of helped. But like Connor McMichael having a great year, young guy taking a big step forward for them.
You knew it was coming.
Yeah, he's playing on the top line with Dylan Strome and Alexander Ovechkin. But the big story to me is on the second line. They got Pierre-Luc Dubois looking like vintage Pierre-Luc Dubois. And not very many teams who've had their hands on PLD have been able to say, like, we're finding a way to get the best out of him. But they are.
Maybe they're just like actually slotting him into the player he actually is, as opposed to like putting this like crazy high ceiling on him.
Well, yeah, it was weird. Like in Winnipeg, it was like he's going to be a top line franchise center. That's why you trade Patrick Laine for him, right? And it was like, okay, that's probably too much. Then he goes to LA and they have him on the third line, not playing top power play unit. And it's like, okay, well, he's more than that.
Yeah.
And again, he's a guy who, if it doesn't go his way, he checks out completely. But Washington seems to have him slotted perfectly. Also, we were talking about Matt Boldy being one of the more underrated players in the NHL when the Oilers went up against the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah.
I also think you can maybe throw Alexi Protas in that conversation.
Geez.
He's
That
such a
guy's
good
having
player.
a year.
He's a Western League boy.
Yep.
Prince
PA.
Albert Raider.
There we go. He is an absolute beast,
He
man.
is 9 feet tall.
He's on pace for like 34 goals.
What's that?
He's on pace for like 34 goals
Yeah.
this year.
And they
Yeah,
and they
34.
locked him up going into this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, his contract right now is 3.375 million until
What a deal.
2028.
What a deal.
Crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got 38 points in 46 games. Like
They also
round
have his
pick.
brother in the system.
they do.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Ilya.
Third line for the Capitals. This is where, like, if you're gonna poke holes in this Caps team, it comes in the bottom six. Lars Eller, Taylor Radish, Ethan Frank, and then Nick Dowd with Andrew Mangiapane and Brandon
Mangiapane
Duhaime.
on your fourth line? That's crazy.
Yeah, Mangiapane is
And we know we
good.
love Nick Dowd.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
We love Nick Dowd.
I don't know, Ty. I might have to disagree.
Yeah, I think
Nick Dowd and Mangiapane both. had
Yeah,
some
you
pretty
know
good
what?
this season.
Now that I kind of, if you swap the third line and the fourth line, then I kind of look at it and go like, okay, I know that's a really good top nine. I just think
that's
we
even
got
a good third. That's a good third line.
Eh,
Mangiapane.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Like
that's a good
scoring
third
time.
line, and then like Eller, Radish, an American League guy. Okay. Capitals not dealing with a ton of injuries right now. They're only missing Sonny Milano. The blue line for the Capitals, again, it's deep, it's good. Sandin with Carlson, Chikrin with Trevor Van Riemsdyk, Martin Ferraveri with Matt Roy. So yeah, again, they did a good job, like going and flipping Jensen for Chikrin, signing Matt Roy, and then keeping all the other pieces you already had in place here. Even going back last year to the deadline when they traded for Rasmus Sandin, it was like, why are the Capitals
Oh yeah.
moving a pick and adding? And now you look and it's like, oh yeah, no, they've got a top pairing defenseman.
Who's
out
the
of it.
GM? Is he new?
Brian McClellan. He's
around.
been
Oh,
around
the
for a
head
minute.
coach is a new.
Carberry.
Right. Yeah.
Probably deserves to. He is the Jack Adams
Gotta
favorite.
He should be. Yeah.
He wouldn't be my pick at one, but he'd be in my top three.
Who's your pick at one?
I would do Evison in Columbus.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I just think he's not doing more, obviously, because Columbus is fighting for a playoff spot. Washington's the best team in the league, and I get that. But when you look at like outperforming expectations, and then you add in like the emotional side of that Columbus team and everything Evason's had to manage, I'd give my vote to Evason, but 2 is probably Carberry.
Well, I think you're right. Actually, Everson, they're technically under the cap.
Yeah,
like under the floor of the cap was obviously everything that happened. So yeah, he's a great one.
Yeah, really good. We're gonna get to Anthony DeMarco in a little bit here.
Checking his text
I thought you were going to show us something.
I was double checking what time
I
Anthony was at.
I know, but I thought you were going to show us something about Everson. All
No.
good.
No, you're good. They
I'm
usually
chilling.
come up on this screen, not on the big screen in front. Starting goalies for tonight. Washington going with Logan Thompson. Liam, you talked about it. He is having an unbelievable season. It is absolutely stunning that Canada didn't pick this guy for the Four Nations face-off.
Is it stunning?
Well,
Is it?
I get where you're coming from.
It is, but it's not.
Yeah.
I'm
Stunning yet predictable.
I'm
Why?
what's the word?
Why? Okay, walk me through this.
Because I think they made a few errors on the team,
Okay,
and I think Thompson was clearly the best goalie
they
to
went
take at the
full
time.
World Junior
Oh,
roster management. Here.
Full World Junior roster. Well, just classic Hockey Canada,
Mhm.
to be honest.
Hockey Canada doesn't. Does Hockey Canada drive the Four Nations team? No. Do they?
Yeah, they
It's
picked
Doug
them.
Armstrong. It's the similar brain trust.
Yeah, there's the same guys who are going to be at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Or similar. Yeah, I think I would. Yeah, of course they have part of it.
It's not a double IHF event, though.
Yeah,
is what
yeah.
you're
So
saying.
it's yeah.
But it's the same kind of general crew.
Sure.
Stuart Skinner coming off back-to-back games where he's allowed 3 goals against, back-to-back games where he's been below a 900, but basically has 2 shutouts in his last 5
That means
games.
He's
So
going
there's
big tonight in a good way.
well, that's why
true.
again, like that 5.5 number on the betting line, Jay. I get why it's like Edmonton, Washington, Ovi, Oilers offense, go with the over. Logan Thompson's unbelievable. Stuart Skinner's probably due to really dial her in here for one. Like, I don't know if I want to touch that over
The
tonight.
team is so resilient without Connor McDavid. You know, I just feel like they're just that like
They've
extra
shown up.
bit of effort's going to show up. Not to say that they're missing effort,
Mhm.
and it's against Washington. I feel like this is a high scoring game. I feel like this is a
All right.
4-3 game.
It is a Sherwood Ford Giant game day edition of the show. Shout out to our friends at Sherwood Ford, the Giant, and Nation Valet. Never visit the dealership again for your car service. They will come pick up your vehicle wherever you are, at work, at home. They'll drive it to the dealership, do the work, drive it on back to you. A free service, and you don't have to be driving a Ford. You don't even have to have gotten your vehicle at Sherwood Ford, the Giant.
And this time, like we're now close to actually launching the package, like very close.
Which is
stay
gonna-
tuned.
it's gonna come with some-
very close.
Some sweet giveaways as well, so that'll be good. Our friends at Sherwood Ford, the Giant, gave us some game notes.
Giant Mike here. Alex Ovechkin has been held pointless in 11 of 24 career games against Oilers.
The Oilers are 4-5-1 without Connor McDavid in the lineup, who will be serving a 3-game suspension.
Hey Oilers fans, did you know Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has been a real Caps killer lately? In the last 5 games, he's got 11 points. Let's go Oilers!
Had that, and this is going to date myself, but Will Ferrell on SNL used to do Harry Carey impersonation.
Oh, yeah.
The Caps killer. Anyways, go Google or YouTube some clips of Will Ferrell doing Harry Carey.
4-5-1 the last 10 games when they've been missing Connor McDavid. So not great. But big Nuge night. Did
And
any of those?
we like to silence the Bago.
We do. Ovi's been
I wonder what they are at home in that during that time.
without McDavid.
Yeah.
I don't know. Reese, get on it, Reese. That was Reese's
Go on,
fact
Reese.
he googled. So
Awesome. Remember what happened last year when we played Washington at home?
nope.
Okay.
It was Ukrainian night. I remember that.
I don't recall that part.
I do.
What do I remember?
You weren't at the game, I'll tell you that much.
The road was
wasn't?
when
No, because I went with
Rolex.
BM in your seats.
Oh, nice. So that might mean okay. Enlighten me.
Connor Brown scored his first goal as an Oiler.
Oh, revenge goal. That's right. It was a revenge game.
Yeah, and then everyone started, a few people threw hats on the ice, and then like a minute or so later, they announced that Zach Hyman had scored a hat trick and a goal correction, and then everyone threw hats on the ice. Washington was pissed.
Yeah,
it was
that
awesome.
wouldn't have been fun. Who's in your Bosch says, love the Sherwood Ford Giant cross check. Sherwood Ford's in the chat. Should we suspend Giant Mike? I'd give him a break because I protect my stars. I'd let him off. in the
There it
final.
is,
Ah,
see?
there we go. Okay,
That's
let's
how you do it. You should be a ref.
as we lead up to the trade deadline, excited to have our boy Anthony DeMarco joining the show. He comes in on the Star Mechanical guest line, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more about them online at starmechanical.ca. You can read his work at Daily Faceoff. Joins us weekly for 5 things. Anthony, appreciate you popping on. I think #1 in our lineup is pretty easy, and it's what do you make of the suspensions? 3 for Myers, 3 for McDavid. Do you think they got it right?
Anthony, you're muted. I can see it.
Oh, Anthony, you're muted. Come on. Come on.
Sorry about that, boys. Been
There
a
you go.
bit. Sorry
You're
about that. It's a Tuesday thing, but yeah, no, I think that I think it's fair. I mean, neither of these guys have past reputations. They're first time offenders, but you also want to make sure that you treat them fairly. And if Myers would have got one thing more than McDavid, and then McDavid would have got less, then there's like, oh, is it preferential treatment and all that? I think it was mostly what everyone expected. Not too much outrage on either side, which is pretty positive for markets like Edmonton and Vancouver. So I think mostly George Peros and the Department of Player Safety got it right on this one.
The Oilers obviously made the addition of John Klingberg early late last week, wasn't it? Friday. What did you make of that addition for them?
I think it's low risk. I mean, it's what 1.77 prorated, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a player that I think could help them on the power play, kind of like an Evan Bouchard, very, very, very light. And looking at the depth charts of on dailyfaceoff.com, you have 3 defensemen playing on the power play right now for the Edmonton Oilers, and Ekholm and Bouchard and Nurse. And I think trying to get one of those guys off the power play, I would imagine that being Darnell Nurse, to save more time, more energy for Nurse to play on the penalty kill, play 5-on-5, I think is very, very important. You don't want to completely run your top 3 guys into the ground. And it's the Edmonton Oilers. They always need help on that right side. So I think that it's kind of like a win across the board. Do I think John Klingberg's going to come in and be the John Klingberg from 2015? Probably not. But in a third pairing role, I'm not sure if you could count on him to be that consistent partner for Darnell Nurse that the team has been looking for a number of years at this point. But I think just that in and of itself, to come in, take some pressure off the power play for a guy like Nurse, play on the third pair and put up some points, I think it's a low risk move for Stan Bowman and the Edmonton Oilers.
Let's go outside of Edmonton, but stick in the Pacific Division. The rumblings around JT Miller are absolutely not going away. Who do you think is in the mix, and what team makes the most sense? Because it's starting to feel like a deal's inevitable.
Well, look, we know the New York Rangers were a team that everyone thought the deal was almost at the finish line to. You've heard Frank Seravalli talk about going to an East Coast team. I just wonder about the New Jersey Devils, guys. I know, like, everyone knows they're looking for a 3C, an upgrade on Eric Holla when he's healthy. I believe right now they have Dowling playing as 3C. But I just think, like, wouldn't Miller make a ton of sense there? Provide some grit, provide some character. I've heard in the past that is what the New Jersey Devils are looking for, to get some help beyond Hischier and Hughes down the middle. But maybe Miller's a guy that could push Hischier down to the third line. That's not a traditional bottom 6 center, but he could also move up and down the lineup. And I also think the Devils are a team that have the pieces to get a guy like Miller. We know that Nemec is not particularly happy. Could a guy like Dawson Mercer make sense? I just look at the Devils and I'm saying, like, man, if you had a guy like JT Miller, is that the best center ice position in the Eastern Conference? I just look at that team and think, like, man, they have the assets. It makes sense. That's the type of character guy they need. I wonder about the Devils.
Okay, sorry, Liam, can I jump in with an idea here? Because I agree with you. I think the Devils are the fit. And one other thing we've been hearing out of New Jersey is everything going on with the right side of their blue line. Nemec doesn't feel like he's getting opportunity. They have a guy like Seamus Casey, I believe, or Paul, whatever his name is. It is Seamus, yeah. Playing in the AHL. And then they have Dougie Hamilton, Jonathan Kovacevic, who they want to extend, and Brett Pesce in the NHL. So they basically have 5 guys that could be playing in the NHL at this point. Who says no? Dougie Hamilton for JT Miller straight up.
I mean, that'd be nuts. That'd be absolutely crazy. But I mean, think that, well, like, look, the Canucks want a defenseman. I mean, you know that we've heard with Tocchet, he likes those more physical guys, but I think they could use a puck mover type of guy. It's very bizarre because I just can't get a read on the Canucks. Like, that is why, like, I'm never bullish on them, because I just find every second year they are just a complete clown show. It's like 1 year, it's just like, oh, this team is up and coming. Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes, this, that, and the other. And then the next year, it's just a bundle of complete nonsense. Like, no matter who the GM is, no matter who the coach is, no matter who the president is, it just feels like every second year, it's a dysfunctional, mess in Vancouver. So I don't even know. Like, it makes sense on paper, Tyler. I just can't get a read on what the Devils would actually want in return.
Well, how different do you think this Canucks team could look? I know you said it's hard to get a read on them, but there was like conversations about Brock Besser even being moved before the deadline too.
I mean, again, it's Jim Rutherford. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if nothing happens, but I also wouldn't be surprised if you have a completely brand new second line. Like, I just don't know how it's gone from last year to now. Even Brock Besser's name is in the mix to try and to maybe be traded. I don't understand what they're doing exactly. Okay, Miller, Pettersson, something has to give. Fine, but how has this trickled down to Brock Besser? Like, I don't like when you're trading a winger, a guy who has he ever hit 40 goals, guys, or at least in that
He
range?
got close last year, 2 years ago, whatever it was.
Yeah, I don't think he is though.
So let's just say a perennial 30 goal scorer. If
Yeah.
you're trading a perennial goal
once.
scorer on a fair contract as a winger, I never know if you're going to get fair value, and just that applies to when you're trading the best player in any type of deal. And we know that the Canucks aren't just doing a fire sale where they're bringing in prospects and picks. They want to remain competitive this year. We know that. How are they going to survive that type of deal? So to answer your question, Liam, like, I think that like they could look very different because it is Jim Rutherford, it is the Canucks, but at the same time, like, is that necessarily a good thing? Like, the Canucks just in it, like, as a whole, are just so perplexing to me.
Yeah,
I think it's awesome.
I love it.
I'm actually all for it.
Me too.
Screw it up.
Last one I got for you, Anthony. You're obviously plugged in out in Philadelphia. Rasmus Ristolainen is a guy that's on Frank Seravalli's trade targets board. And I know we just talked about Klingberg, but I think myself, a lot of other people who follow this team are kind of like, okay, risk-free, but you probably got to aim higher at some point. Do you think Ristolainen is a guy who'd fit in well in Edmonton? And what do you think the Flyers are looking for, considering he has 2 more years on that deal?
Well, here's the thing. Like, they want a first-round pick, and the Flyers already own the Oilers' first-round pick in 2025. So right there's kind of like a fly in the ointment. But let's say you could find an equivalent. I'm not going to speculate, but let's say that you could even get there. How could Ristolainen fit on Edmonton's blue line? I think people just hear Ristolainen and their brains revert back to Buffalo Sabres 2019, 2020 analytics disaster Ristolainen. And then if you say Ristolainen with Nurse, their heads will just completely explode because on paper, paired with reputation, and with a fair possibility of it being a complete disaster. But I think that, like, if all things were to kind of work out, which you can't assume on everything working out, that is kind of the exact type of guy that the Oilers would need. With, like, you could answer this better than me, guys, but, like, do they miss the physicality of Vincent Desharnais on that blue line this season?
I don't know if
I think like more of like an Adam Lawson kind of player is what they miss.
like physical, but they got to be able to do other things. Like, we're not
Yeah.
looking for just sort of a
So
cylinder.
Ristolainen has proved to be exactly just that. Now, is it going to translate over to the Edmonton Oilers? Who knows? But I do think he's going to be playing a lesser role with the Oilers. He would be like a 4-5 as opposed to like a 3-4, which he is in Philadelphia this season. And I think that if it did click and his play did translate over, that Nurse and Ristolainen is the exact type of shutdown pair that you would want if you're Chris Knoblauch, to take some pressure off of guys like Ekholm and Bouchard, and you don't have to push Kulak up too high or Klingberg up too high. And we know that Knoblauch likes to use 7 defensemen, so then you can maybe use 7D with Kulak and Klingberg and Emberson or pardon me, or Troy Stetcher. So I think that if you get this version of Ristolainen, it would make complete sense. But then you have to wonder about the contract. Are they going to take it on at full value? You don't have a first-round pick this year. Do you want to trade a first-round pick next year? Like, there's a lot of moving parts, but stylistically, this version of Ristolainen does make a ton of sense for the Oilers.
Interesting stuff. We'll chat with you again next Tuesday. Thanks for doing this, man.
Thanks a lot, boys. Take it easy.
There you go, Anthony DeMarco on the Star Mechanical guest line. Read his work over at Daily Faceoff. Every TV in our office is turning off at once right now. It's driving me crazy.
So how did Philly get our first round pick?
We traded it for Sam O'Reilly.
First round.
Sam O'Reilly. Oh, that was our
Yeah. But we can bump it a year. So the Oilers can either give Philly the pick this year or it turns into an unprotected first next year.
Gotcha.
So if you need to use a first this year, you can use it. But again, you're leaving your next year's pick unprotected, which shouldn't concern you. But anyways, all right, let's keep cruising along. Let's get into the betting talk for our friends at Bet365.
Well, just talking about trades.
Okay.
Like you saw yesterday that and once again, I might have been tricked online because I just digitally snack.
Mhm.
But like the term fire sale and Pittsburgh Penguins
Yeah.
is out in the ether.
So I asked Frank about that today.
Okay.
And he said his first reaction to it was, it's great you want to have a fire sale, but how does that work if no one wants your players? And
Well,
I think
one player I would love.
so. I know where you're going. And Frank said, if you're the Penguins, like Letang, Malkin, Crosby aren't going anywhere. Would someone pay enough to make it worth your while to keep half of Erik Karlsson? And Erik Karlsson being a $5 million ad for a team.
34 years old now, too.
I'm staying far away from that.
Yeah, who else could you want to pry out of there?
Pedersen is a rental, maybe.
Yeah.
But that's going to probably cost you a second rounder, which again, I'm somewhat open to, but like, I'm not, if Pittsburgh's sitting there going, we need a first and something else good.
So how come none of those big three aren't touchable? Because no one can afford them?
I don't think they want to go.
They won't do that. Yeah.
They also all have full no movement clauses.
Well, that just means they're in control of their destiny.
I think the sense is Dubas doesn't want to move out one of those three pillars.
Well, it's damaging for him potentially.
Exactly.
Malkin's only 6.1.
So if your angle wasn't Carlson, who are you talking about?
Sidney Crosby.
I just wanted to have the discussion.
Oh.
Well, no, I see. Of course, it's Crosby. Crosby above all.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't see any fit between the Oilers and them. I threw out this to Frank just because this player really impressed me when the Oilers went head to head to him. I liked Kevin Hayes.
Yeah, he's all right.
I actually thought he moved way better than I thought he would. If Pittsburgh kept half of him again, and you get Kevin Hayes this year and next at 1.75,
he is retained once already. For people who don't
so
know,
you can
by
keep
St.
him
Louis.
again.
What about Michael Bunton?
Eh.
I mean, there's your rat.
I know. That's kind of what I was thinking.
There's your rat.
If they would
the
take-
thing is, though, he takes dumb penalties. But
Would
there's your
you,
rat.
if Pittsburgh, again, let's say fire sale, would
Getting
you
da-
trade Evander Kane for Michael Bunting at this year's deadline? Oh, but then you lose his LTIR space. He can't make that work. Never mind. Bad idea.
But if they say so, Bunton has 10 team, no movement, no
Yeah.
trade team this year, fully available
Yeah, that
next
wouldn't
year.
work at all.
He's only $4.5 million with 1 year left.
I know. I don't
Be like,
mind
hey,
that.
can you take him down to 350, 3.5?
You can almost afford that full board.
Oh, I know, but if
Jeff
you wanted
Skinner
to
for
just,
Michael Bunting.
yes,
You got to throw in picks and shit because Bunting's playing fine. But
he has 13 goals in
Yeah.
47 games this season.
Hmm.
He's an interesting one. I don't know. I doubt
He is.
there. I
It's
doubt
It's
they're in.
funny how much he's moved around in the last 3 years. But
Arizona, Toronto.
Toronto was a factor.
Yeah, then he went to Pittsburgh from Toronto.
And we went to Carolina.
Yeah, he did go to Carolina.
yeah.
He signed there.
Sign there.
Yeah, because he had a weird free agency. Everyone thought he was going to get like a Hyman deal, and he never did.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to our
And he
betting
was
talk.
the Hyman replacement in
Yeah.
Toronto.
Betting talk for Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm coming off back-to-back wins in our game day betting challenge.
I don't know how-
Let's
probably
go.
losses.
I hate to break it to you, Jay. You are.
I shot for that 30-1 that I thought was good. If I got
Mhm.
that, wow, that would have just been a game changer.
I would have changed.
I'm
it
not
all.
done swinging, boys.
All right, I think we got the standings up there now.
Yeah.
I'm getting real close to being back in the positives.
I got it up here. I'm 8.8 units. You're minus 3.45. Jay is minus
Just
16.7.
one banger away. That's it.
Yeah. All right, I'll go first. My pick. This has worked for me. Draisaitl 3 shots and Ovi 3 shots. Ovi's been on a weird cold streak for his shot prop, but I think it's a matter of time before he bounces back. So I like playing these two together. Plus 165. Liam.
I'm going to the big man. Leon Draisaitl 2 points. What is it? Plus 120 here, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. How can you not?
Jay, you cooked up something big and juicy.
Of course. He needs one big swing.
Well, over 5.5.
Okay.
Gimme. Draisaitl 2+ points. Got to step up because McDavid's gone. Liam agrees.
Yeah, I'm with you on that
And
one.
I have a 70% chance of Ovi scoring. I'm taking it.
If you look at it, just an objective black and white number, fair.
Yes. So that looks like 3 gimmies I just smashed together into one delicious parlay at +5. What, 25?
Yeah, 525.
Yeah.
That'll be big
That
for
takes
you.
a bite. That takes a bite.
Yeah,
There you go.
I
You'll
like
be
this
right
J
there.
parlay today.
I don't hate it. I could see Ovi again. We talked about empty netters. Like you always get that little bit of insurance. with
I am
Ovi.
worried. I will be honest. I am worried about the W, which just probably solidifies the fact that the Oilers are going to win.
Yeah. Yeah, whenever you're worried about them, they always tend to come through in a good way.
So like that's why my bet's very open ended, and I put the over goal thing in like shit. It probably is an empty netter, so that means we've lost. So, but always scoring in Edmonton. There's something poetic about him scoring in Edmonton.
Yeah,
on
it
his
kind of
case
feels like it
progressing.
has to happen.
It's a foregone conclusion. And the fact he's what +1, what was he 130? Like what's him to score versus Leon to score?
Leon was +110 when I looked
Yeah,
earlier.
nobody's like +135.
+130, Leon +10, and Hyman +115.
And isn't Ovi scoring at a higher goals per game than
Then, yes, he is. Then Leon.
Maynard asked
found an edge.
Maynard asked if we're home dogs. We are not. We are home favorites against the best team in the league. The Oilers have only been dogs 4 times this season. They're 3-1 in those games. Washington, they've been underdogs 22 times this year, going 15-7.
Like it doesn't make like they're like the best team in the league, and they're
Yeah.
underdog all the time.
The over-under at home for the Edmonton Oilers, 8-13 with 2 pushes. So it's only hit 8 times in 23 games, the over, when the Oilers are at Rogers Place, which I find interesting. The over-under when the Caps are the road team, 9-10-3. So also not hitting more often or missing more than it hits.
Yeah, this is not mathing well, but I believe.
All right. Okay, just very quickly, I want to get into a couple of comments in the YouTube chat for our friends at Odd Company Brewing. The all-new Nation beer. It is crisp. It is clean. It is delicious. It is the perfect drink for game day.
It's the official beer of our pond hockey team this week.
Oh, we're going to be drinking more than a couple of them. Matthew is in. Byram or Marcus Pettersson? Which one do we want the most? I don't think that's like a very this or that kind of scenario or question, because Pettersson's going to cost you a second-round pick. Left shot, defense, first defenseman. Bowen Byram's going to probably cost you a first-round pick plus and maybe even plus again on that. And he's a right shot, offense first kind of guy. So again, not totally apples to apples there. So Pettersson is definitely more realistic, even though Byram's probably the better player. Nathan says you're just you're just one 8-game heater away from solving all your problems, Jay, when it comes to the betting challenge.
Thank you. Or an 8-game parlay or 8-leg parlay.
Yeah, a little plus 800 parlay. Spider, yeah, 8 legs. Dave says Marcus Pettersson's really the only Penguin I'm interested in. Nathan on Carlson said no more seniors. Ryan S said no, not Carlson. Rusty agreed. Only guy I want out of Pitt is Pettersson. So I do think Pettersson's an interesting fit for the Oilers. I could see them being kind of interested, but I don't know. Frank the other day kind of brought up the idea of Mike Matheson again, and I'm like, man, if he shakes loose, I will continue to beat that drum. Like Pettersson or Matheson is the guy if he shakes loose.
I don't know enough about him.
Cost?
4 point something, right?
But like trade wise, what do you think he costs?
First and Boakey.
I don't think so.
You wouldn't do it?
No, I just don't think that's the price.
I think it.
No, I think the prospect's probably a little bit less, and then maybe you throw in like a third or a fourth or something like that. I think it'll be like a 3-piece to go. I could see it being like that. But giving up your top defensive prospect, I just don't think that's what teams do.
Yeah, I mean, I do think again when you look at what if it was Akey in a second? I also don't think Montreal wants a D prospect. They have so many. So probably a forward.
Yeah, maybe like
Sam O'Reilly in a second.
No, like who's a third best prospect, forward prospect in big? Or who's their second best forward prospect?
Who's that Russian? I don't know.
Oh, Petrov. Yeah, maybe something like that. I don't know. You look at the Kulak trade, for example.
Yeah,
that was a 2nd-round pick, William Lagesson, and like a 4th. I could see it being something like that.
Mm-hmm. All right. We are going to do a little fun trivia game for our friends at the Sports Closet. We got a $50 GC to give away since it is a home game day. Here's what we're going to do. Aaron, can you get the prize wheel ready?
Oh, baby, I'm ready.
You need to comment in the chat a player who's played for both the Capitals and the Oilers. The first 5 people to get a unique player.
I got
so
one.
it's first 5 uniques that go into the YouTube are going to be entered in the draw.
Oh, I got a few.
Caps and Oilers.
We'll
Yeah.
keep our eyes on it and help me with the names.
Yeah, I will.
There's
Connor Brown. So there's one just the letter.
Can I say mine?
It was just the letter A
Oh.
was the first one to get Connor Brown. Isaac Chow got Mike Green. That technically counts.
Yeah.
Smith Pelly
let me
did
tell
not
you,
play for
totally
both
does.
dudes.
The L's got Jason Chimera.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Doug
That was on my
Wake.
list.
Doug
Oh.
Wake got Tom Pody.
Cody.
Cody, yeah. There's another one that's a throwback.
Brian commented Strome, but Strome, he's got the wrong Strome, so he doesn't count. JR said Dowd. Dowd never played.
There's the other Dowd, yeah.
Fighting Amish, Matt Hendricks. That's our 5th.
Oh, I love it.
okay. I got
Mike
A,
Greer.
Isaac Chow, Doug Waite, the L's.
Yeah.
And Fighting Amish.
Oh,
Yep.
There's a great Taylor Chorney shout in there too.
There was
Ethan
Taylor
Bear.
Crony.
Who was yours again? You said you had one.
What was I said it?
Oh, Mike Greer.
Mike Greer.
Okay.
Oh.
AB.
Wheels
So the
coming.
wheel up.
Wheels coming.
Come on, show us that wheel.
There's
Give her a
the wheel.
spin. Who's going to win?
Oh, make some
A.
noise.
Isaac Chow, Doug Waite, the L's, Fighting Amish.
Could be anyone.
It's the L's. Email me, Tyler at OilersNation.com. Tyler at OilersNation.com. Let me know that you won the contest. I'll get you hooked up with your $50 GC from our friends over at the Sports Closet. Let's wrap things up with our keys to victory for Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Hit the trails this winter, hit the waves next summer. Home of the $50 biweekly ATV, $105 biweekly boat. They're hockey fans helping hockey fans right in the heart of Sherwood Park with everything you need. Motorcycle boats, e-bikes, all the e-bikes, all the accessories that go along with it. Keys to victory, boys. What do you got? I'm going to say get the power play going because Logan Thompson and the Capitals are very tough to crack at 5v5. No McDavid on the power play makes me nervous, but still. Draisaitl, all them. Throw a different look at the Capitals. Get something going with the power play.
I think it'd be a little greasy. Show a different side of you. That's mine.
All right.
Mine is dry.
Yeah.
Big game from the big German.
Secure and really add to that MVP case over the next 3 games.
You're exactly right. This just totally proves that him being good is not attached to Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
Like he's proven it time and time again, even though people still can't see it. This is these opportunities are just that time to just really stick that message home.
Mm-hmm.
Fair?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Should be a good one tonight. Aaron, you're going live at 6 o'clock tonight. You got Zach Lang with you.
Zach Lang, Patrick Puff, intern Payton. Let's go.
There you go. Loaded squad. Pre-gaming with Boardsy starts at 6 o'clock right here on the Oilers Nation YouTube. After dark, immediately following the final buzzer. 7 o'clock puck drop between Edmonton and Washington tonight down at Ice District. Start of a homestand for the Oilers as well, which is nice after all of those road games. Thanks for tuning in today. Shout out to our boy Anthony DeMarco for popping by. That's a wrap on a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show. Enjoy the hockey tonight. We'll be back tomorrow, noon Mountain Time.
Thank you for watching Oilers Nation every day. Hit the subscribe button to never miss a show. And for more, visit OilersNation.com.